Welcome back to another reading vlog. If you're new here, my name is Michaela. I make videos taking you along for different books, sharing my thoughts, my real-time reactions to the stories, and then at the end I give you my review and whether or not I would recommend it. So in today's video, we are going to be reading Rebecca Yarros' brand new contemporary romance book, which is Variation. This just came out on November 19th, so this is a very fresh, brand new release, and I'm really excited. I also got a new mic, so I'm really hoping the audio is better in this video than it has been in previous ones. We're just learning. It's a journey. We'll figure it out at some point. So this book I'm actually reading because we are doing a podcast episode on it. So if you follow the podcast, you'll actually get 2 videos of me sharing my thoughts, but this is just going to be like real time as I'm reading it, my what is going on and how I'm thinking. And then the podcast is more like I've had time to digest and my thoughts are a little more polished. So I actually did start this last night before bed because I had finished my last book and I wasn't quite ready to go to sleep. So I was like, I'll start this, but the lighting was way too bad to start the video. So I'm only 11% in. I've only read 4 chapters. Like, I'm not far. I didn't get crazy far into it. But I did write down my thoughts so I could tell you what I thought last night. And my phone is all the way over there. One sec. Okay, so the book opens with, we see Hudson and his older brother, and I can't remember his name. I know it starts with a G, maybe Gabe. They're like out on the water, and Hudson is like training. He's always dreamt of being like a Coast Guard rescue swimmer. They're out in the ocean in Cape Cod, and they come across this boat with these 2 girls on it, and they're shouting for help. So he goes over and he helps them. It ends up being Allie and her younger sister, Eva, and they bring them back to shore. Hudson's older brother then says, like, do you know who those people are? They are a really wealthy family. They only come here for the summers. They don't really interact with the locals, and they are ballerinas. And Hudson basically shoots his shot, and he had given Allie a sweatshirt, and she was like, here, take your sweatshirt back. And he's like, no, you can bring it back to me, like, when we go hang out next time. And so he's trying to, like, go on a date with her. And then after, like, that whole interaction where he's trying to like get a date with her, it basically says at the end, like, by the end of the summer we were best friends, and by the next summer he hated me. So clearly something happens between the 2 of them. The next chapter jumps like 15 months, and we're like in the middle of an accident scene. Like, Allie is like bleeding. It's right after a car accident has happened, and she's with her older sister Lena, I don't know how you say it. And she's basically telling her, like, you need to stay alive, you need to, like, here, gives her a ring, like their mother's ring, and then Lena, whatever, walks back towards the car, and then the car blows up. Honestly, at this point, I was really confused. I literally wrote in my notes, what the fuck happened with Lena? She walked back to the car and it blew up. Did she want to kill herself? Like, I'm very confused because, like, I thought at first we were in the car, but clearly she had gotten Allie out of the car and like onto the grass area so someone could find her. But then she walked back into the car and she fully opened the door and like sat in the seat, and then it blew up. So I'm very confused what that was all about. Then it jumps again, and it's like 10 years later, and Allie is dancing in a ballet performance with like a very prestigious ballet company with her younger sister Eva, and they just keep making references to how their older sister Lena should be there, and it just seems like they have a really tumultuous relationship with their mother. Like, she really strives for perfection. And then Allie, like, notes in her monologue or whatever that she always requests that the middle seat in the last row be kept open. And at first I thought it was for her sister, like to commemorate her, but no, it's for Hudson. And she's like, I've kept this seat open for the last 10 years and he's never shown up. I'm really confused, honestly. That part just seemed a little weird because it seemed like they were only friends for like 1 or 2 years, and we don't even know if they have a romantic relationship, so I don't know. I honestly don't know. Then the next chapter 4, was like Hudson he's back in Cape Cod and he's doing a rescue, and was it his sibling? Maybe it was like his niece or something. I think it was his niece. Yeah, it was definitely his niece, and she wants to be enrolled in dance classes, and her mom will not let her. I don't know why she has like a stigma against dancers and ballerinas. And the niece finds out that Hudson used to date Allie, who is this really famous ballerina, and she's like, she's back in town, she got hurt, she's rehabbing here, can you bring me to her house so we can convince my mom that I should be a ballerina? So they have now gone to Allie's house. She's not answering the door. And then it appears like she is possibly drowning in the ocean. That's where I'm at. Honestly, I am not loving the writing style. Don't hate me. I love Rebecca Yarros. Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. Some of my favorite books. Onyx Storm, already pre-ordered it. Things We Leave Unfinished, cried like a baby. I loved that book. The Last Letter, did not love as much. And this one, I don't know. I don't know which way it's going to go. Like, I feel like with her, it's either a 5+ star or it's like a 3. And I'm feeling just really thrown into things and not understanding what's going on. Also, she's starting the chapters with these, like, it seems like almost like Reddit board messages, but it's just like one username and a message, and it's really confusing. I just feel like right now I have a lot of, obviously it's the beginning of the book, but I just have like a lot of questions about things. I'm not sure how everything's going to connect. So far, I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it. Like, I'm going to keep going. Obviously, I need to finish it for the podcast. No DNFing allowed for podcast books because we would have nothing to talk about. But I don't know. It's not grabbing me like some of her other books have, but I'm hoping maybe once we hit like that 20% mark, I'll be a little bit more pulled in. So that's where we're at. I'll give you another update when I get to something that either confuses me or maybe has made me change my mind on this. But as of right now, I don't know how to feel about it. So we'll see. Okay, this is an iPhone update much later in the evening, but it is confirmed they were not in a relationship, because when he just jumped into the water to save her and she's like confused why he's there, she literally says, "A beautiful man with a strong square chin, full lips I'd never had the chance to kiss." So they've never even kissed. So, like, why are you saving a seat for someone for 10 years that you were not in a romantic relationship with? They probably were just friends, but I'm just confused. I'm really confused with the timeline that these chapters are working in. I don't know. Let's keep reading. They also keep mentioning this app called Seconds, but they haven't, like, described what the app actually is, except for she's finally just saying, "That's all Eva, I just lend her my name and do some of the videos to help her out." Is Seconds supposed to be like their version of TikTok in this book? Like, just use TikTok. I don't understand. Or explain what this app is. This isn't a real app, is it? I've never heard of it if it is, and I work in social media. I can just like tell I'm already being a hater because I'm not loving this book. Oh God. This book continues to get weirder because now Juniper, Hudson's niece, who is adopted, is saying that Allie is her biological mom. How? Who's the father? I feel like there's just like a lot of things thrown into this book that are making zero sense. My thoughts right now are Allie isn't the biological mother. I'm thinking maybe it's Lena. Maybe. I'm so beyond confused. I do not understand the dynamics. I'm so confused on the timeline. I don't get what the plot of the book is. I'm really hoping it gets better. Okay, I'm on chapter 17. I'm about 42% in, and I have to say, Caroline is the worst. I really just do not like her. How mean she is being to Allie, and how she's like telling Hudson that he shouldn't be with her because she doesn't like him enough. Like, she's just, she's such a Debbie Downer. And I feel like we really don't even know her reasons for hating them so much. Like, she's given a couple examples, but to just like write someone and their whole family off because of these few things, it makes no sense. Also curious to see or to find out like what Hudson was talking to Lena about before the classic, which was a few hours before the car accident, because he seemed very shocked that Juniper was related to them. So I'm curious what he knew or what they were talking about. Maybe it had something to do with like Allie going and joining the company, or maybe the sister was like trying to dissuade him from like pursuing a relationship with her. I don't know.
Also, I feel like Gavin has to be the father, but I don't know, because they like were hooking up over the summer. Maybe he went out to San Francisco to see her, or it's just like enter a new person in San Francisco. I don't know. We have to figure that out too. Also, their mom, Sophie, is just like the absolute worst, but I think something's wrong with her. Because it's like clear she's not going back to New York. And just from their interaction when they went to visit her at her house, it just seems like she's not fully there. So I don't know what is going on there. Definitely liking it more once we got into like the fake dating trope. I started to like the book more. Obviously, we all know where this is going. They're going to end up together. They're going to have like probably some trials and tribulations when she goes back to New York and he has to figure out what he needs to do, but like obviously they're going to end up together. Like that's where this is going. But yeah, definitely still some questions on things that are hidden. But I'm definitely liking it. I'm liking their relationship. I'm warming up to Allie. I feel like the writing style has gotten much better. It's a little bit easier to understand what's going on. So it has gotten better. This is definitely not going to be a 5-star for me because I'm halfway through and I'm already not feeling that. Right now it's feeling like it's sitting at like a 3.25. We'll see if that changes. Okay, so Gavin is not the dad. So I think that's just going to be like a random character we haven't met. Caroline still continues to just be the absolute worst. But Juniper, like, she's just a kid, but she's pissing me off. She's manipulating everyone around her to get what she wants, and like, she just can't follow rules. Like, now she's just like jumped into the lake when she's not supposed to, and now she needs to be rescued. Like, just do what the adults are telling you to do. It's driving me nuts. I also really do not think Allie is going to go back to New York. I think she's going to stay, or she's going to follow Hudson. I don't think she's going to go back to being ballerina. Just a prediction. And her sister Eva is also the worst, because she's like fake being sympathetic for her sister. She's definitely trying to take her role. So I got my eye on Eva. 62%. I'm almost done. This is really long, this book. We could have cut some things. Definitely could have cut some of these scenes. He was there. Hudson was there when she got hurt.
Okay, I finished the book. I stayed up till 2 a.m. last night reading it because I was finally getting into a groove with it and I didn't want to like risk the chance that I wouldn't pick it up again for a few days. So I finished it. Let's talk about it. It's also pouring, so hopefully you can't hear the rain too bad. I left off talking about the accident. So Hudson, we find out, was behind them in his own car at the accident. So they had actually met up at the Cove that night. He was the one who gave Allie the ring, and then he followed Lena and Allie away from the beach to go home. He was about 30 seconds behind them when they got in the accident, and when he got there, Lena told him to save Allie. So he pulled Allie out of the car first. It was on fire. He dragged her up the embankment and she was bleeding. She had a head wound and was bleeding pretty badly. So he was trying to get the bleeding under control because he was really worried she was going to like bleed out. And during the time that he was trying to get her bleeding under control, the fire of the car spread and it reached the gas tank. So by the time he was able to go back and rescue Lena, the car had caught on fire and she died. So that's what happened with the accident. He also showed up at the hospital, and Allie's mom basically said, like, she will never forgive you for not saving her sister over you, like, leave her alone. And he just felt a lot of guilt around that, and that's kind of what caused him to go away for 10 years. Eva continued to be the worst till the end of the book. She stole Allie's part. She had come to visit Allie, asked her to help her with some choreography. Allie worked with her. Eva secretly recorded her the whole time, and Allie had admitted some things like, I can't do this yet, I'm not there in my recovery. Eva then posted it on the Seconds app, which I think is TikTok, and basically used it to her advantage and stole the part in Equinox that was choreographed for Allie. And Allie was pissed, which I don't blame her. So then she worked with Everett and Kenna's mom, Eloise, to really like speed up her rehab and be able to earn her part back. And she did an exhibition at the Classic, and everyone saw that like she was perfectly fine. She could dance. She was flawless. And Eva threw a hissy fit, like, why did you do that to me? So embarrassing. And it's like, you did it to your sister first. You literally bashed her reputation online and stole her part. So Eva just like, I have no sympathy for you. You are the worst. At the Classic, they also had Juniper dance, and Caroline had no clue. And when she realized it, she freaked out, because she said when she did the adoption, there was 2 stipulations that they had to sign off on. 1, that she would never do ballet, and 2, that she would not find her birth parents until she was 18. And so then everyone's freaking out, like, because they're like, oh, we are in a room of like all these prestigious dance companies, people in the dance world, and like the dance world is really small. And then they started getting worried that like maybe they were putting the adoption in jeopardy, especially because they found out that Everett signed his name as the legal father on the birth certificate, but he actually wasn't the father. That was like a scheme that Lena and their mom Sophie had cooked up. So technically the legal birth father had not given up his parental rights, so he could have contested the adoption if he wanted to. Now this is where it got confusing to me, where we circle back to my issues with the writing style that was happening at the beginning of the book. They're trying to figure out who the dad is. And so it's not Gavin, because Hudson had taken a DNA test and there was no relation. It's not Everett, because he admits that he just signed on the birth certificate, but he wasn't the father. So trying to figure it out. And there's a lot of things that just happen off page, or Rebecca was expecting you to follow the thought process of the characters, but I felt like you didn't have enough information to be able to fully follow their thought process. So they basically realize that Lena and the mom used the pregnancy as leverage. So Lena, when she was 18, was not accepted into the ballet company that the mother wanted them to be in. And if I understood correctly where the storyline was going, they basically used a pregnancy to secure a spot in the company. But when they're discussing it in like the broom closet, I thought they were trying to say that Lena got knocked up by Jacob, who was in the San Francisco ballet company with her. And so then they'd start drawing up all these NDAs, these legal documents. I thought they were going to approach Jacob. Fast forward to the next chapter, they are now approaching Lysel, or however you say his name, the guy who is in charge, like the head guy at the Metropolitan Ballet Company that Allie and Eva work for. And I was extremely confused. I think Jacob is his son. I'm not even sure. But Eva says, oh, I figured it out because of the dimple, and that's a genetic thing. I just feel like no one would have gotten to that point, and I was really confused when they were not approaching Jacob. So it just felt like there was like a gap there for me. Anyways, they approach him, and he basically says, like, I don't even know this child that you're talking about. Like, he's acting like this never happened. And it's because he is in a very long-term marriage, and it would not look good because his wife is the executive director of the company. Like, it just would ruin his reputation in the dance world. And they con him in, or not con him, but they get him to sign like his rights away. And then they're like, we all signed NDAs, we won't talk about him. And he admits that that is how Lena was able to secure her spot in the Metropolitan Ballet Company, was through this pregnancy. They were like, if you let her be a principal dancer, we will not talk about this. And it seems like Sophie, their mom, used the same tactic to get Allie her spot. So honestly, it made me think differently of Lena at the end. I really liked her, the way that they were describing her, and then the fact that she used the pregnancy as leverage, did not love. And then I was completely right in thinking that Allie was not going to re-sign a contract. She ended up becoming like a freelance dancer. She just took like 3-week contracts wherever she wanted, and she followed Hudson, and I was really glad that he ended up going to Alaska and didn't stay behind just because of Caroline. Like, she needed to figure out how to parent on her own. Overall, I gave it a 3.5. It was good. Wasn't my favorite. I definitely still like Things We Leave Unfinished better by her from her romance books, but this was better than The Last Letter. Did not love that one. It was good. I think I liked it, though, more because I understand the dance terms and the technique and, like, the world they're referencing, because I grew up in that. If you don't like that, I don't think you'd like this, because it was really heavy on the ballet stuff and like understanding the dynamics of like a competitive dance environment and like stage moms and dance moms and emotionally abusive teachers. And I think you'd have to have a little bit of an understanding of that world to fully understand the characters and the way that it impacted them. But yeah, 3.5. So make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you've read the book with your thoughts. I would love to chat about it with you. And the next book we are reading will be another Rebecca Yarros book because I am reading them for the podcast. So we will be reading In the Likely Event. So I will see you in the next one.